Hi guys, so Temple of Nightmare opens today in ROOC, and many of you might not be familiar with the dungeon. So in this video, I'm going to explain to you guys what are affixes, a good team composition, and the mechanics of each boss. So first, what are affixes? If you are the team party leader, you would need to know and choose what are the best affix for that dungeon. To me, affixes can be divided into three categories, which is to buff the enemy, to debuff you, or to damage your team. Now I'm gonna show you guys an example of how to choose your affix for a particular dungeon. There is a requirement of how many affix that you have to choose, and there's different tiers. So tier 1 give you 1 point, tier 2 give you 2 points. And the higher the tier, the more difficult the affix will be. You need to fulfill the minimum requirement of the difficulty affix level. If not, you cannot start the dungeon. So the first affix that I'm gonna choose is one where monsters will surround the players. This is the damage affix. Now the next affix can also debuff you and damage you at the same time. Or the middle lightning one where it paralyzes you. This is a debuff affix. Generally, I do not recommend taking any debuff affix that can stun your teammates because it really hinders the gameplay of the dungeon. On the side note, even if there are affixes that hinders you, you also get to choose a blessing bonus. The blessing bonus gives buffs to your team. So in this case, I like to pick Hardened Skin because it gives us a shield which is very useful in staying alive. But I think you can also choose Tree Root to increase your HP recovery. However, if you think that your team is strong enough and won't die, then you can choose a damage blessing. So these damage blessings will increase your damage inside the dungeon, and it is very helpful in finishing the dungeon early. And that's it for affix and blessing. We're gonna move on to the gameplay and mechanics of each boss and the team composition that I like for each dungeon. So for the first Earth boss, you're gonna have to kill the Sandman-like monsters to make sure that the Earth boss arrives. And this is important, do not step on the yellow stones. They're gonna shoot out pillars from underneath and that's gonna damage you a lot. You should also keep moving and not get chased and killed by the sleepers. The sleepers are the Sandman-like monsters. After the gnome arrives from underground, it's gonna start to hit you. However, at this time, you can also damage the gnome itself. But after a few seconds, it's gonna become indestructible and go underground. Now, this is the important part. It's gonna start chasing after one person. If you're the person being chased, there will be a line connecting you and the gnome. Don't panic. At this point in time, you should bring the gnome running around the map and look for a pillar that emerges from the ground. It's okay if it doesn't appear right away, but once you found it, you can make it crash into the gnome. This process will repeat for about 2 to 3 times. But eventually, the gnome will go back up from the ground. You can start attacking it again and lowering its HP, but be careful of the yellow stones that will appear from below your feet. It will shoot up pillars that can hurt you a lot. Also, try not to stand on the yellow cross that appears at the end when the gnome is dying. If you follow my instructions, you should be able to kill the gnome and pass the first dungeon. Now, the second dungeon is water-based as opposed to the first earth-based one. Now, my tip for you guys is that you can use the converters on your screen and choose the wind for the water monsters. It will increase your damage by a lot. The mechanics for this dungeon is that you can start hitting Undyne, but after some time, it will become indestructible and call forth its minions. When it does this, you have to quickly kill the minions before it reaches Undyne. Because if it reaches Undyne, then Undyne will give out a huge damage to all of your teammates and eventually kill everyone. So it's best to spread out and not stay together in the middle. As you can see, I lost in this attempt because the Marina got to Undyne. Also, watch out for Undyne's AoE damage, which is the Tide Shock. You need to stay way behind Undyne or else it's gonna hit you right in the face and kill you. So the third dungeon will be the fire one, Salamander. I'm gonna use the water converter in this instance. And this dungeon is relatively more simple than the others. You just need to avoid the AoE damage from the salamander and break the salamander's shield. You need tons of damage for this. It will get harder as the level of the Nightmare Temple increases. The fourth boss will be of wind element. So in this case, you're gonna use the earth converter. So with this boss, my main tip is basically to just keep moving around. You're gonna want to avoid the bubbles that come your way, the blue ones as seen on the screen. Also, you're gonna want to avoid the tornadoes that come after a while. It's good to keep running around and damaging the sylph until it dies. Don't take too long because the dungeon will get harder with more obstacles as the time progresses. Next is the ghost boss. There's no element converter that can help you with this boss, so you can just set it to neutral, it's fine. However, in this dungeon, it's a little more complicated. You can see there are red circles on the ground. You need to go to the corresponding pillar in order to take care of those red circles. They really build up damage over time, so you need to get rid of them by going to each corresponding pillar according to the color. So green, for example, will be the wind pillar. However, my best suggestion for this dungeon is that you have a runner or two that takes care of these pillars so that they don't bother the damage dealer and the bard, as well as the priest that are trying to take care of the boss monster. There should also be a stun skill from the boss in this dungeon, so beware of that and make sure you have the anti-debuff skill with you, as I'm sure every class has one. Other than that, just avoid the AoEs and you're good to go. Don't get hit by the tornado, make sure your priest resurrects your teammates and keeps a safe distance. Those are my tips for this dungeon, guys. And that's it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. I hope this video helps you. Don't forget to like and subscribe. See you on the next one.